Women seem more entitled than ever. They expect a lot while giving very little in return beyond sex. So men are walking, they're checking out and not coming back. You can always find peace and calm away from women. Let's be clear, this isn't about attacking women for the sake of it. It's about explaining what happened to make good men go their own way. The behavior from modern women is often selfish, disrespectful, and full of attitude, but it didn't come from nowhere. Most of these women were once girls full of relationship potential. They were playful, kind, full of life. But girls are being raised in a world where feminine attitudes aren't encouraged. Females no longer seek refuge in the company of males like they once did. From a young age, they are taught that men are dangerous. The role of men has been subverted. We were once the source of security. Men shielded females from the dangers of the world. That has all changed. Now we are somehow the risk. We are the oppressors. Safety is sought in women-only spaces, rules to control men, and female empowerment. Ironically, we used to basically leave women alone to do what they like. But we created a system where the problem is now us. And in this system, women are orientating themselves to oppose men instead of aligning with them. Of course, females now distrust males. With us as the threat, the logical stance is to be wary of men, to stay on guard, to generally assume the worst. That's how you end up with leftover women who treat normal behavior like a threat. You show a bit of leadership, they act offended. You express interest, and suddenly you're manipulative. You give them a compliment, and they act like you're beneath them. They enter every moment like it's a negotiation they plan to win, not a connection they hope to build. Female entitlement is false self-worth. They believe men are lesser beings because that's what they've been taught. They know men have something to offer, though. Therefore, gaining from men must be a matter of exploiting them selfishly, like how a master exploits a slave. What they don't realize is that men don't have to give women anything. Women historically relied on charm and reciprocity to benefit from men. Men were powerful. They still are. Entitlement is just a mask. Underneath is fear, pride, and a lack of trust. And men are starting to see it for what it is, a sickness, one they're learning to spot and flee from. While the behavior of sexist women is often bad, you have to feel sorry for them on some level. They are trying to navigate life with the wrong map. They don't understand the potential within themselves or in the men out there. The consequences of this lack of understanding include loneliness and low-quality relationships. They sabotage themselves by maintaining unduly low opinions of males. Both women and men are to blame for the way girls are being raised. The weak father is just as responsible as the domineering mother. The idiot woke lecturer called Tim is equally accountable as the gender studies professor called Martha. And the Australian Prime Minister, a man of sorts, can take just as much credit for pushing anti-male narratives, programs, and policies as any blue-haired lesbian. Modern women have been praised their whole lives but never taught how to love. Told they're special but never shown how to earn respect and give back. They never let up in keeping blokes down, then wonder why no man sticks around. They didn't discover how to be in a relationship, only how to set princess-level expectations that no one can or should even try to meet. Women have taken up the false idea that strength means keeping men off balance, correcting them, challenging them, refusing to be impressed, but it doesn't read as strength, it reads as hostility. It's cold, it's unpleasant, the kind of woman who seems permanently suspicious, like she's waiting for you to slip up. And most decent men walk away from that. Females were told not to be naive, so now they assume every man is some form of threat. Sit down across from one of these women and you might feel it. She's guarded, distracted. If you're kind, she assumes you're desperate. If you're confident, she sees it as arrogance. It's like she's reading from a script and you're just here to play the villain. Some women speak to men with zero tact. They belittle how you talk, how you dress, what you do, like it's normal, but it's not how men treat each other. It's not honesty, it's disrespect. And to a man trying to connect, it feels like being openly torn down. They were told to be independent, but not in a responsible or grounded way. It became a version of independence that treats connection like a flaw. When a man offers help, they see it as a challenge to their pride. Even when it's genuine, even when it's generous, they shut it down. They've been trained to refuse. And then they wonder why nothing works, why no one stays. They think they're showing standards. But from where men sit, it just looks like hostility. A man walks away not because he's weak, but because it's all one-sided. He's expected to show up, make an effort, prove himself. Meanwhile, she critiques and rejects. It's all meant to protect them. That's the sad part. These behaviors were encouraged to avoid pain. But what they actually do is prevent closeness. You approach with peace and openness. What you get is resistance. What you get is a woman trained to see you as the enemy before she even knows your name. They've built walls so strong that most men never even see who they really are, just attitude and rules. Nothing soft, nothing receptive, nothing human, and they don't realize that while they think they're in control, what they really are is completely alone. They never risk connection, so they never feel it, and worse, they never learn. A woman who never lets a good man in never discovers what it's like to be loved by one. She stays in the dark. That's the trade-off of living behind armor. You don't just block pain, you block truth. She stays untouched, but also uneducated, hardened, but still naive in the ways that count. They've been taught to find safety without men, not in trust, not in intimacy, but in systems, in ideology, in the idea that if they just stay wary enough, they'll be safe. Culture told them not to rely on men because men are unreliable, but governments and beliefs don't love them back. None of that holds you in the middle of the night. None of it makes a relationship. There's always a trade-off. Act cold and you get coldness back. Act superior and people stop trying. Expect everything while offering nothing and you'll find yourself alone. But women aren't told this, so when nothing works, they think they're just unlucky. Now we're seeing more and more women who are unapproachable, not because they're shy, but because they're combative. They carry themselves with contempt. They radiate suspicion. They aim for strength, but just project hostility. Many lead with their bodies, poses, skin, filters, tight clothes. That's the bait. They think men are beasts, creatures who will follow anything sexual. But most men have judgment as well as basic instincts. These women don't understand what their display actually communicates. It's not seduction, it's contempt. It tells us exactly what they think of us, that the only way to attract a man is to seduce him, that the rest of him, the mind, the values, the deeper nature, is irrelevant. They don't realize these signals are a window into how they see the world. A woman who believes men are primitive won't see any point in appealing to his character. She'll never try to inspire, support, or understand him. She won't build anything with him because she doesn't believe there's anything there to build with, and men pick up on that. This is why feminine women stand out so clearly now, because they understand how to relate to men. They inspire, they cooperate, they make a man want to step up, not walk away. Around these women, men become more protective and open. The human dynamic just works. That's what's been lost. And that's what so many women can't see. Their whole posture is masculine, their view of men is cynical, and their approach to connection is adversarial. They want love, but they radiate control. They want a good man, but treat every man like a threat. And when they flash skin or turn up the volume, they think they're being confident. But what men see is someone who's missing the point entirely. But only the most foolish of men underestimate women. Females are designed to attract mates, bond with them, gain control, and obtain services. Many quickly learn how to get men to do their bidding. They lead us like cattle all the way up to the altar, where we hand over our lives like a steer being led to slaughter. At first, it doesn't feel that way. The physical side works. Affection flows naturally. The hormones do their job, oxytocin, dopamine, all the rest, and for a while things feel genuine. But those chemicals fade, and once they do, her nature begins to show. The tone shifts, the warmth fades, the affection that once came freely now feels transactional. Her attitude hardens. What once felt close becomes critical. The man tries to steady the relationship. He reasons, compromises, does his part, but it isn't enough. She was raised with the idea that she deserves more. that being dissatisfied is a sign of high value, that if something feels off, the man must be to blame. This is what entitlement looks like. It's not about mood or phase, it's conditioning, it survives therapy, it persists after long conversations and heartfelt explanations. Even when shown clearly what's happening, many can't see it. They were taught to expect the world. That mindset doesn't budge easily. Eventually, the relationship collapses, and when it does, she quickly moves into a different mode. The system supports her inexplicable need for revenge. The kids, the money, the story, it all shifts in her favor. Courts, policies, and cultural narratives align around her imagined experience. Not every woman acts this way, but enough do that men have started adjusting their expectations. They've seen what unchecked entitlement leads to, and they know there's little protection once it starts. Divorced men are often the most resigned to going their own way. At this stage, they've learned a lot about women. They also know women have power and are hard to read, and they know many of them carry an ingrained sense of entitlement. So the only rational thing left for these men to do seems to be to check out of the relationship game.